And more people joining, excellent. And share my screen with you, and then we can get started.
Yeah. Again? No, sorry, it's just my webinar starting.
Sorry, somebody's on a noise. Would you mind?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea. Just a heads up that
oh dear, I've got somebody who I can hear on a telephone call. No. Oh, they've gone. Great. Okay, brilliant. So this webinar today is about the 5 ways to show your boss you are ready for a promotion. And who is this webinar for? Well, this webinar is for you if you're one of those people who finds that they hide behind their desk rather than speak up and sell themselves, who feels uncomfortable with having to talk about their successes and tell people how great they are. That's it. If that's you, then you're on the right training. So if you're one of those people who finds that sometimes they have great ideas or do great pieces of work, but that actually their boss or their colleagues take the credit for it. If that's happened to you, then absolutely this is the training for you. And perhaps you've had your confidence really knocked because your boss hasn't shown you recognition, or other people have got promoted above you. Because of that, you're feeling like you're maybe not good enough for the job you're doing. You've had your confidence knocked. Also, if perhaps you've been talking to your boss already about your development and your salary, you've had those conversations, but still you're not getting the opportunities, they're going to other people. If that's you, then definitely we're going to be talking about that. And I'm not going to be asking you to tell your boss to schmooze up to your boss or to suck up to your boss, because I know from my own experience how false and how uncomfortable that can feel. So we're not expecting you to do that. But you also don't have to take more time out to do qualifications. I mean, qualifications are great. They help with your experience. They help with your expertise. But actually doing more qualifications is not going to get you more career progression that you want. It's going to keep you specialized as an expert. Okay, and it's also, you're not going to have to shout about your successes. So if you have a personality that feels more introverted, I'm not going to be suggesting that you stand up in the spotlight and shout about your successes, because I know people worry that they might be judged as pushy or arrogant even. And I know a lot of you are working long hours, you've got a big workload at the moment. And again, that's not something else we're going to be talking about here, having to work longer hours or proving yourself. And the aim of this is that so you can feel valued and recognized at work. And that will mean that you can walk away from meetings feeling a mile high, knowing that you've spoken up and you've been listened to, which is really important. It'll also mean when you feel valued and recognized, that you can go home from work each day and be present with your family, because you're not overthinking, why haven't I received my promotion? Why has somebody else got the opportunity that I haven't? You won't be going home feeling stressed and moaning about things being unfair. So your husband and partner will probably be very pleased about that. And finally, once you feel valued and you get your promotion, you can even spend time sitting on a beach in Mexico with your husband and family on a holiday that you have paid for with your pay rise. And there's nothing better than that. And also, one thing I struggle with is switching off my laptop for the weekend. There's always a few emails. There's always something I can prepare for next week. But once you feel truly valued and recognized at work, you can do that. You can switch off and know without any guilt that you don't need to touch that laptop till Monday morning. So this is also for you if you are a senior woman who perhaps has been in meetings and been interrupted, you've been dismissed, or that butterfly syndrome, I like to call it, where you put an idea out there and it lands flat on the table like a caterpillar. Then somebody else picks up on the idea later and it flies like a butterfly. So you're not getting the credit for your ideas. Or maybe you're halfway through your career and you're concerned about failing in terms of the work you deliver, or your work not being up to the standard that other people want. in those situations, you maybe procrastinate about starting the tasks and end up faffing around with emails and with other bits of work that you enjoy and find easy. So if you're holding back from doing work in case you get it wrong, this training is also going to help with that. Or maybe you've been unfortunate enough to be undermined by your boss or your colleagues who've made you feel stupid in front of other people. It does happen. I've had clients talk about it, and you need to be able to be confident and assertive in those situations. Or maybe like most women, you're just absolutely exhausted from balancing the workload with your home life and pleasing both sides, and you're feeling guilty at not achieving either of them. So when I first talk to clients that I start working with, I ask them, what have they tried so far to try and build their confidence and to get that promotion we've discussed? And these are some of the things they've mentioned, which you might recognize. So some of them have actually been honest with their boss and said, you know, I'm feeling overlooked, I'm not feeling confident, or I've been overlooked for promotion several times. Can you tell me what's going on? But they've done it in a way that it's actually backfired for them. Either it's damaged the relationship, or perhaps nothing has happened as a result. Nothing has changed and it's made them feel worse. A lot of people read a lot of self-development books. And in fact, that's something I do myself. And I've even written one, if you haven't seen it. Good Enough, A Career Woman's Guide to Courage, Confidence and Credibility. And it's full of great ideas like the other self-help books. The problem is it's quite difficult to apply these things consistently yourself. So that's probably why you found that difficult. Or maybe you've been put on some leadership training by your organization. Again, great ideas. Unfortunately, they're quite generic, so that maybe hasn't worked for you. Or maybe you've gone down the fake it till you make it line with your confidence, pushing yourself to speak up and actually ending up just feeling quite false. Or some of you maybe even have worked with a coach or a counselor or a mentor to help you get that promotion, but still it's not actually made any difference. So my question is, has the search that you've been going on to get the recognition and promotion you deserve meant that you're actually working harder and having less time for you? Because it shouldn't be like that. Let me just tell you about Helen. Now, Helen is a lawyer. She was a partner in a London firm, and she felt that she was ready to be a senior partner. But she got feedback from her boss that she needed to sharpen her elbows. Not the greatest of feedback, but she recognized from that actually she was being too nice a person, too polite, and that was costing her her promotion. So we talked about this, and it was clear that Helen was struggling with nice girl conditioning, and that meant that she wasn't speaking up for what she wanted. She was people pleasing, and instead of speaking up for herself and putting what she needed first, she was pleasing others. So I worked quite a long time with her on her confidence and how to speak up and be assertive, because she was avoiding conflict as well, which is a very common one. So how to react in a situation where she needed to be assertive. She's now gone on to get a leadership role within the partnership, which is a fantastic result for her. So moving on, my promise for this webinar is to tell you exactly how you can stop worrying what others think or miss out on that promotion. And you can do that, as I've said, without smoozing your boss, shouting about your successes, or completely being exhausted from your workload and long hours. And as I keep saying, so you can sit on that beach in Mexico, paid for by your pay rise. So how do we do that then? Well, just to mention that, first of all, I've got nothing for sale on this webinar. You've probably been on webinars where at the end they have this great offer for you to buy. There honestly isn't anything for sale on this one. But if you do stay until the end, I do have a gift for you, which is a bonus training. So this is 3 quick fixes that will have you sounding confident whoever you're talking to. So this is something I use in my paid clients programs. And today I'm going to email it out to you for free if you stay to the end of the webinar. There's also going to be a new strategy that I'll be telling you about. And that's one that I've used with my clients when their lack of promotion is down to the boss not seeing their potential. It's not down to a lack of a position to move to, or it's not down to a lack of budget. It's down to their boss not seeing their potential. So I'll be telling you about that. And that's especially for you if you've tried just getting on with the job and you feel invisible. Because when we're overlooked, what it does is it knocks your confidence. And that starts that downward spiral into feeling invisible and there's something wrong with you. But there absolutely isn't. And I'm going to show you how. Now, when I struggled in my career with a lack of confidence and a lack of progression, I know I tried speaking to my family and friends about the way I was feeling. And although they were empathetic, and although they, listened to my problems, the solutions they suggested weren't really effective at all for me. And I know other people have actually tried doing online programs. I mean, since COVID, there are tons of these programs around. I have one about confidence and career progression. But what people find is they're quite difficult to actually consistently apply. And all of these things you try and don't work can lead you to feeling like people are telling you lies. They're telling you things that just don't work. When actually, people actually then start to believe, actually, is it me? Is it my fault? This must work for other people. But actually, it isn't your fault. And I'll explain to you why what you've been trying so far to make things better is actually not working. In fact, it's making things worse. And I'll be telling you about why the workplace is changing and why you don't want to be left behind. Because the workplace, not just because of COVID or hybrid working, but for other reasons, the workplace is changing. You no longer just get the job because you've been there for 10 years. It's down to your visibility, your leadership skills, your network. All of these things you need to be in control of, or you're going to get left behind. So very briefly, just to say that I'm Jo Pater and I was a pharmacist originally. I then went up the career ladder and had a very successful career for 17 years. But in the early and mid parts of my career, I definitely struggled with belief in my abilities and opinions, and also about how to share them and to get my visibility up. I really struggled and I couldn't find courses or anything that worked for me. And it took me years of working the hard way to find out a way to be successful, because I wanted to do it without sounding arrogant about my successes. I didn't want to do loads of networking and getting myself out there. That felt really uncomfortable. And I didn't want to change my personality. I didn't suddenly want to become the loudest person in the room. And also, I didn't want to take credit from my team by talking about the successes as if they were mine. So I struggled, but I did get that career success in the end. And this is another client of mine, Kay. She is a management consultant. And when I met her, she'd been working extremely long hours, traveling a lot, and working really hard, and had gone off with burnout and stress. And when I met her, she was just about to return to work and obviously wanted to ensure that her return to work wasn't stressful again. And I recognized in her that she had a lot of perfectionist traits. She was really harsh critic on herself. She had that all or nothing, black and white type trait. And she'd find negative things in anything people would say about her and take them very personally. But yeah, just brush off anything that was positive. So that was affecting her belief about whether she was good enough. And I worked with her on her perfectionist traits and built up her self-worth. And she's gone on to change organization to a new job. She's now in line for promotion, but yet her work-life balance, if we call it that, is still good. And she hasn't been ill since. And she said to me, without this mindset change and without these new skills, Jo, I really would have become ill again. I'd have gone off work again and maybe not ever returned. So it's great to see us such a positive place now. So just to tell you about why things that you've tried aren't working for you. So if you tried working harder to prove yourself, that doesn't work, because you might probably notice from other people getting promoted that they do a good enough delivery of work, but they do a good talk the talk. And those are the people that are getting the promotion above you. So just working harder to keep on proving yourself isn't going to be enough. The training courses that I talked about before are very good. They are generic, though, generally to most people. And what our challenges are very personal to us. So the solution may not fit us. So if you've been on those courses and they haven't worked for you, it's partly because they're not personalized, and partly because it's difficult to apply them when you've got nobody to be accountable to you. And if you've tried this faking it till you make it, unfortunately, that can work in certain situations, but generally it doesn't, because you feel you're not being yourself, you feel false. And what happens then is that means that it comes across with that sort of vibe to other people, that actually you're a bit uncomfortable in what you're doing. And as I said before, like Helen, if you try pleasing others, it doesn't work. You end up with a bigger workload because you can't say no. You resent the fact that nobody's listened to what you want or do things the way you want to. And today's workplace culture is really about visibility and about building relationships. So as I mentioned, there's an easy way, there's a hard way. I definitely did this the hard way, but the work that I've done with clients is going to make sure you can do it the easy way. Just a couple of mindset mistakes that I find my clients have that you may recognize. The first one is expecting recognition to come to you. And that's because when I first started work, actually, there were levels of hierarchy and you move from one step to the next. It isn't like that anymore. Nobody is going to be waiting for you to finish your hard work and just say, oh, right now I'll lift you up into that position. That doesn't happen. Expecting that recognition to come to you isn't going to happen. So although that would have worked in the past, it's not working now. The second mindset mistake is wanting to be liked and please others. And as I mentioned, that ends up with more work for you. But also, for people like Helen who avoid conflict, what happens is you might avoid the things that feel uncomfortable, but you're also avoiding getting respect and recognition. Because people respect you when you speak up and stand your ground on your own opinions. And with that respect comes the recognition of future progression. So because of all these challenges, I developed one process that honestly fixed every problem of my clients who were looking for that career progression. And that's because I worked for 14 years, I've researched and I've worked with senior career women to develop this process. And it meant that my clients were getting the same opportunities and recognition as their peers. They were able to trust what they knew and to go with that rather than to worry so much what others might think. And they were finally able to stand up for themselves in discussions and conflict. And really importantly, they could believe in their own abilities. And that process I've called the career transformation process. And what I've done today for this webinar is take 5 elements of that out, and I'm going to show you them as the ways that you can show your boss you're ready for promotion. Now, I know there is nothing like this process out there because I've researched it, because it's built on my specific research and work with hundreds of women. So let's get into it. So the first way in which to show your boss you're ready for a promotion is about identifying and removing the blocks to that promotion. And by that, I mean looking at the different areas of things that are stopping you. Now, with my clients, I have an assessment tool which helps identify the exact blocks that are stopping you from getting a promotion. And to help you along with that, I have a number of areas that you need to think about, which are, for example, what is your market value? So what is your market value in terms of your salary? Are you being paid a fair market value? Sorry, I got confused on that. Actually. What I meant to say was the blocks that are stopping you, are they cultural? Are they cultural in that they are down to the type of person that gets promoted in your organization? Or are they down to the structure of the organization, which means whether there is a position ready for you? You need to look at the blocks that are also down to your behaviors. Is there some sort of behavior you're showing or not showing that they expect in the next level up? You also need to look at your mindset. Are there any blocks in your mindset that are stopping you? And of course, there's a financial aspect. Are there blocks within the organization where there's no budget or that business isn't performing well that are stopping you from getting that promotion? So consider all of those 5 areas. And what I'm going to think about now is, once you have understood what the blocks are, which ones are within your control and influence? And they are the ones to focus on. Not just by saying that all the blocks I obviously can't do anything about. You may think you can't do anything about culture or finance, but there are some ways you can. So identify the ones you can control and you can influence. And quite often that's more the thinking and behaviors that go on. And what I found, just for example, about the common thinking blocks, pattern blocks that get in the way, the mindset blocks, a couple of the most common ones are perfectionism and nice girl conditioning. Now, perfectionism, you may think, oh, I'm not a perfectionist, I don't have a perfectly tidy house, etc. But actually, a perfectionist is somebody who wants to try and achieve 100%. It's not that they do achieve 100%, it's that they need to. And that pressure of needing to achieve those extremely high standards is what makes perfectionism so tough. But research by the University of Florida showed that perfectionists don't actually perform any better than non-perfectionists. And in fact, non-perfectionists get it done in a quicker time and with less stress. Because perfectionists are procrastinating, maybe because they're worried that if they start it, it might not be 100%. And also they have all this pressure on themselves that slows them down. So if you feel like perfectionism has driven your career, you may be right to a certain level, but after that, it really is going to stop you achieving what you want to do. So from that research, I developed my Excellence Over Perfection guide, which is practical ways in which you can make changes towards excellence, which is a very high standard, but is a growth mindset, versus perfection, which is an unachievable standard and is a fixed mindset. And the type of things I'm talking about here are, for example, the 80-20 rule. So if you put in 20% of your effort, you'll get 80% of your results. But then perfectionists will want to put in the other 80% of effort to get the small remaining crossed T's and dotted I's. So if you use the 80-20 rule, it is bound to be good enough. There are circumstances where you need to be higher, but generally 80% is more than enough. And putting in all that extra effort isn't necessary. The other one I mentioned was nice girl conditioning. Now, nice girl conditioning, it comes from society, parents, schools, etc., conditioning us in our early childhood to be nice girls, to be polite, to put others first, to be modest, not to blow our own trumpet. All of those things which work really well in schools because we work hard, we get good exam results, but come to the workplace and it's going to hold you back. Again, referring to the example of Helen before, sharpen your elbows. Do respect yourself and value yourself as much as the other person. So I developed 10 rules that empower my clients to stand up for themselves and be able to build their visibility. So once you recognize your conditioning, that is keeping you small, it's keeping you people pleasing, and it's stopping you achieve your potential, that's the point to start challenging some of those beliefs that you've got. So why bother with removing these blocks? Well, the important thing is is that if you have done all you can to remove these blocks, you can then make the choice, do I want to go or do I want to stay? Knowing it's no longer about you. So isn't that better than, rather than staying stuck in a job and feeling resentful, or just jumping ship and running away, knowing that you've got these new mindsets and skills you can take to whatever job you choose to move on to. And because you're no longer being a perfectionist, you can still deliver at a high standard without working long hours and having more time for you. So, number 2 of our ways to show your boss you're ready for promotion is to speak up for your wants and opinions. Now, one of the main communication challenges I find from clients is around assertiveness. And assertiveness is about speaking up for your wants and opinions in a way that respects both you and the other person and maintains that relationship. And I give my clients a simple structure so you can speak assertively about your wants and opinions. And that can be used in lots of situations. For example, if you've got a colleague who's taking credit for an idea in a meeting, you can use that structure to speak up assertively. Or if you want to challenge your boss about why you're not getting these promotions, you can do that using that assertive structure. Because when you're not assertive, people don't hear your ideas, people don't know how you're feeling and what you want. And the result of that is you can really feel resentful inside and it knocks your confidence. So assertiveness is a skill you can learn. And I suggest that's really important, because once your boss sees that you're speaking up for yourself, you're valuing yourself, it starts to change their perception of the way that they see you in terms of promotion. Number 3 of the ways to show your boss you're ready for promotion is also about communication. This is about speaking with impact and authority, because there's no greater stage for speaking with impact and authority than in things like meetings and presentations. And what a lot of my clients say is that generally in meetings and presentations, they're okay. But when there are senior people there, they struggle. And I don't know if you've heard of Eric Berne. He developed the transactional analysis method in modern psychology. And what he said is that in any interaction between humans, there is a dynamic that we fall into. It depends on the people, the situation, etc. But we fall into either being a parent, an adult, or a child. And that dynamic varies according to the situation of people, as I said. But imagine a team meeting where you've got a very senior person and you're in there. You can tend to fall into that parent to child dynamic, which can make you feel uncomfortable at speaking up. And what you want to be in is the adult to adult. Again, I've used that model to develop my strategies to help you leave a meeting, having spoken up, having been heard, your butterfly idea flying away, and you feeling mile high because you've really been listened to. And in strange sound. So you've really been listened to. And that's really important, because what it gives you is that sort of place where you can show your potential, your ideas for the future, what makes you have the potential more than others to be promoted. Now, if you struggle with speaking up in meetings, you may also have, it's likely, nerves before presentation interviews or one-to-ones with senior people. So again, that's a great opportunity for you to raise your visibility, for your boss to see you in a different perspective, for your seniors to recognize that you've got that potential. And so I give my clients quick fix tips to help them with that, of which there are a number of tips that I have. But one, for example, is something that actors use a lot before going on stage. Is before you go into these situations, is to stand, and you've probably heard of Amy Cuddy and her body language. If not, do watch a TED talk, just to use a really strong positive body language to make you feel powerful and confident before you go into these situations. So why worry about having impact and authority? Well, your boss and the right people will hear your potential. They'll see that you're confident, you've got things to add, and that you will be an asset to them to move forward in the organization. It also means you get credit for your ideas. It means you're not going to be spending time in meetings worrying about, should I say this? Is it right or wrong? Should I not speak? Should I speak? And instead, you're actually contributing and giving value. And hopefully it'll also mean you won't dread presentations and interviews. So moving on to number 4 of the ways to show your boss you're ready for a promotion. And this is the visibility mindset. So this is one of the biggest things that has changed in workplace culture. It is about you needing to demonstrate that you're visible. So what does that mean? Well, it doesn't just mean that people know your name. It means that you're visible to the important people and stakeholders in your organization, that they know your strengths, they know what you've achieved, that they know your potential, that they know the things you've been involved in. So you need to be taking part of the time of your working week to spend the focus on how can I increase my visibility. And again, I have 10 easy ways in which you can raise your visibility, but do it in a way that is not bragging and boasting, which I'm sure we will all dread. Do it in a more informal and collaborative way. For example, if you finished a project and it had gone well, you could, rather than standing up and saying, this project's gone really well, aren't I wonderful? You could send an email out to your colleagues, your seniors, saying, this was the result of the project. These are the learnings I've had, which I think may be useful for other projects. Now, yes, you have raised awareness of your success, but you've done it in a way that is collaborative to everybody. So there are strategies you can use without feeling like you're being arrogant. Oh, sorry, I've moved on to one too quickly there. The other important thing about a visibility mindset is having a network. So having a strong network is important, and it's something that women don't focus so much on. They maybe have a small group of people that they're very close to and have a very deep relationship with, but you need to have a strong, broad network of people that could be advocates for you in the future, of people that are in different parts of the business or different industries externally. You need to build those relationships and have that strong network. That is going to make the difference between you being able to just hear about opportunities when they come up on a jobs board or LinkedIn, etc., to you hearing about projects and things you can get involved in. So raising your visibility is one of the key things you need to do to ensure that your boss sees you as the type of person ready for that promotion. So in terms of, sorry, it's gone, something wrong there. And the 5th way in which you can show your boss you're ready for promotion is to have, to use what I call my checklist of, which tells you whether you're ready to ask for a pay rise or promotion or not, that I use with all of my clients. And the things to consider before you go and actually ask the question are, firstly, what is my market value? What is my salary compared to other people in similar roles? Secondly, you need to be thinking about timing. Is this an appropriate time to be asking for the promotion? Is the business doing well or not? Has there just been a round of pay rises? What's going on in the business at the moment? Thirdly, think about your performance. Am I exceeding my performance? What am I doing that is over and above what my job description is? Fourthly, to think about, do I have some advocates in the business that will back me up and that will, once the meeting is around, is this person ready for a promotion, that they will be there to back me up? So you need to consider all of these things and put a sort of a business case together before you decide definitely whether you're ready to ask for that promotion. So why do this? Because working harder or longer, as I've said many times, won't get you noticed and promoted. Your work doesn't speak for itself. And if you aren't visible, your peers will be, and they will get that promotion. And the benefit of visibility is also that it gains you knowledge and opportunity. It's not just about career progression. You get to know things and get to maybe have a better understanding of the business. And that can really help with your career fulfillment. Okay, so wow, I've covered a lot there. And those steps probably feel like a lot of work to you. But don't worry, you know, of my clients, hundreds of them have been through this process and achieved success. And they've done it without spending lots of hours on it. And that's because I've done the hard work for you. And all you have to do is to follow those steps. And not every person will need to follow all of them. So just pick out the ones that are appropriate to you. But when they're put together, they're able to stop you feeling exhausted, stop you not getting credit for your work, and they will get you the promotion that you deserve. And what does that mean? Yes, I can relax at the weekend. I can get great feedback from my boss, and I can go on a holidays paid for by my pay rise. And you can do that in under 60 days. My clients have shown that. And this is one of them. Sunita works in pharmaceuticals, well, still does work in pharmaceuticals, and she wanted a director role, but she was told her visibility and her relationships in the business weren't at the level she needed them to be. But Sunita, from her culture and her background, had been taught not to blow her own trumpet, to be modest and humble. So she dreaded the thought of having to raise her visibility and talk about her achievements. So I shared with her some strategies she could use that weren't so uncomfortable, that allowed her to be authentic in the way she shared them. And she has gone on to be really successful. She's got that director role. In fact, she told me that a few weeks ago. But not only that, she's gone on to mentor other women with those strategies to help them use them to raise their visibility. So don't be frightened of the word visibility or sharing successes. It's just you need to do it in a way that is authentic to you. So here's a question for you. Do you want to spend the most amount of time and energy and make the least amount of progress? Or do you want to spend the least amount of time and energy and make the most amount of progress? Because a lot of women I talk to give me reasons why they aren't going for promotion or they haven't got the promotion. Like, you know, I've been in this organization for 10 years. It's far too far on in my career. It's too late. I'm overlooked. Nothing's going to change. Or, well, I don't even know whether I'm capable of doing the next level of job. Lots of reasons why they shouldn't be going for it. And that can lead to some very bad hair days. Oh, and this is just a picture of me on Sky News, where I went to talk about the work I do and my process. But here's another thought for you. How many days out of March, so it was the last 30 days in March, would you say that you've spent time, some of the day, worrying about being overlooked and worrying about why you're not getting the promotion you deserve? And of those 30 days, how many of the days could you have spent time, rather than thinking about this, being present with your family and friends, or using that time to build those relationships and your visibility with the right people at work? And spending time on your own development and the parts of the job that you actually really love. For example, if in the last 30 days in March, you spent 15 of them where you've been exhausted because of overworking and of worrying about your progression, when you should in fact have been feeling every day that you're valued and your work is recognized. The difference is 15 days that you should have been living your life with that pay rise and promotion. And if I extrapolate that, that means you've had 180 days over the last 12 months. That's 5 years out of the next 10 years that have been wasted on worrying because you've been overlooked. And that's all because you didn't have the right career transformation process to follow. And here's another, maybe even more important question. How much money have you wasted on courses, self-development books, podcasts that just haven't worked for you? £500, maybe £1,000. And how much money have you made in the time you've been stuck in, so how much money have you lost in the time you've been stuck in your current job? £5,000, £10,000. I mean, I know for myself that I have lost tens of thousands of pounds in my career. I left it on the table because I didn't get promoted when I really did deserve to. And as well as that, I lost years of my life because I did it the hard way. So how much time and money is it costing you to not get that promotion and pay rise using my career transformation process? But I have the solution for you. If you're hoping this will all change and go away by itself, oh, I'll just keep on doing what I'm doing, it's sure to change. We know that doesn't happen. It's a bit like banging your head against a brick wall, because if you stay where you are and do nothing differently, nothing will change. So when I was in that position, I asked myself one simple question. If the process that I've been using isn't working and hasn't got me the progression I want, and I'm feeling overlooked and stuck, then it's time that I found a new process so that I can go and sit on that beach on holiday in Mexico, paid for by my pay rise. And here's how I can help you fix this today. I'm going to offer you a beautiful window of opportunity, because I'd like to give you a chance to, to learn from all of the things that I've learned by researching and working with career women, and to not have to do it in the way I did by wasting time and money on solutions. And I also did everything the wrong way and the hard way, and I don't want that for you. So, I want you to personally have that career success and pay for that holiday. And what I've done is achieve that holiday. And I can tell you that the beaches are absolutely beautiful in Mexico if you ever get there. And I've helped hundreds of women to do exactly the same. So I'd like to set up with you a 100% completely free how to get noticed and promoted using the career transformation process call. And on that call, what we'll be doing is we'll be talking about the challenges that you've got, the blocks that are in the way, and I will put together a complete plan for you so you can stop feeling undervalued. And I'll also talk to you about how you can actually implement that customized plan to ensure you get that career fulfillment that you dream of. So you're going to leave this call with the exact system that hundreds of my clients have used to get their promotions and pay rises. But I'm sure you're worrying it's going to be a sales pitch call. It absolutely isn't a high pressure sale whatsoever. I promise you that. The high pressure bit will be at the end of the call when you've already got your personalized plan, and I'll ask you if you'd like my help in being coached to implement your plan. And you can simply answer yes or no. But I do want to point out that I only bring on 5 new clients each month. And you probably can tell from my presentation that I like people who are action takers, who will be proactive about their career progression. So it might not be that we do that I do offer you the coaching, or it might, because I might not feel that you will get the results from the process. So that's a potential. But having said at the beginning that I would send you out your bonus training if you stay to the end, well, we're almost there. So I will be emailing out to you in the next few hours the 3 quick fixes that will have you sounding confident whoever you're talking to. And the best thing that will happen to you on this call is that you love the plan I create for you and you want to become a client of mine. But I have to say to you that taking this call is the single most important thing you can do right now to get noticed and promoted. If you're concerned about staying stuck, if you're concerned about missing out on opportunities and your confidence being further knocked, then you need to make this call. And it's very simple. You just go to your browser and type in speakwithjo.com. That's speakwithjo.com. And it'll come straight to my online calendar where you can then find a time that suits you to book in your no-cost call. Finally, just to talk to you about Anne. Anne is a client of mine and she works in financial services. And she'd been working part-time whilst raising her children, but her children had now left home and gone to university. And she decided, right, it's my time now. I want to go full-time and I want to progress my career. But suddenly she realized that these lack of confidence and self-sabotaging behaviors were happening. She felt, why would anybody listen to her? She's only been a part-timer. What value is she adding, despite being an expert in her area? And she really found it difficult to speak up in those very senior meetings. So we worked very much on that self-sabotage and on strategies to help her speak up. And I'm pleased to say she's now head of department. And honestly, the sky is the limit for her. So that's pretty much the end of my webinar today in terms of the content that I've got. But as I said, the single most important thing you can do for your career progression is to book this no-cost call with me. So go to speakwithjo.com and hopefully I'll see you there to speak to. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. And this is an opportunity for anybody to ask any questions if they'd like to. Do we have anybody brave enough to type in the chat or just to speak up for any questions that they've got?
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Firstly, a lot of the things you said have really resonated with me. And what I'm wondering is, one thing that didn't come out, but it may be something that you do cover, is if you feel that it's your personality that's causing the issue. So I've got quite a strong personality, and I don't ever, I'm quite forthright, and I won't ever sugarcoat things, and that's something I'm working on. And I'm wondering if that's something that you have come across as a block for promotion, and your face doesn't fit sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. That's I didn't mention that I went for the other end of the communication spectrum, really. So we've got your more passive person there, your more aggressive direct person there, and assertiveness is still the answer for this. So it is about structuring the way that you speak when you're assertive, using I statements rather than you. It's also about summarizing what the other person says so they feel respected. So it's not about sugarcoating it. It's about making sure you're respecting the other person as much as yourself, and you're not causing the defensiveness. Because if I say to you, you didn't finish on time and it's been a disaster for my project, you're going to immediately go defensive, aren't you? But if I say to you, I'm concerned that the project didn't finish on time, it's had a knock-on effect of mine. Is there any particular reasons that led to that? You're still giving the same message, but you're doing it in a way that's not going to cause as much aggravation. Does that answer the question? Or
it does, thank you.
Yeah, great, thank you. And thank you for being the first to speak up, that's great. Anybody else? Quite happy to take the questions in the chat if you'd rather not appear. Well, I'm really pleased that you've managed to come along today and invest this time, because that is the most important thing, is putting time in. And we tend to just get on with the job, don't we? We tend to put our heads down, get on with the job and keep delivering. We haven't got time for all that visibility nonsense. But it is the most important thing that you can do at the moment to lift you above the level of the sorts of people that to lift you above the level of people that just work and don't do anything else. That's the difference that you can make. That's great. Somebody saying a couple of thank yous. Lovely. Thank you so much for coming. And if nobody's got any other questions, I will let you get back to your day jobs. I will be emailing out the 3 ways to speak more confidently. So if you find that helpful, and do book a call with me. I'd love to talk to everybody. I love to understand and hear their problems. So, whatever your challenges are, do book a call with me. Great. Okay. Thank you all very much. Oh, sorry. Do we have another one?
Sorry.
I did, yeah.
It just got stuck with my muting and video.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I was curious, and as I came across this session on LinkedIn, because of the promotion aspect of it, but
Yep.
what if somebody is not interested in promotion in the same company because they want to do more, but they are not sure? So it's like you're getting a pay, but you're not happy with it. You value yourself more,
Yeah.
but not the promotion in the same company.
Okay, so you want to move companies and get a promotion, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, what I would suggest is that you practice these things I've talked about today in your current job so that they become habits and behaviors that are part of you. So whenever you're ready to move for a promotion, then you've got these habits and behaviors.
Right.
If you're wanting to find another job, the visibility aspect external to your organization is important. So that's your LinkedIn profile, that's your networking, that's the connecting with people on LinkedIn and social media. All of that is important, not just to raise your visibility, but because only 74% of jobs ever get advertised. Sorry, it was the other way around. 26% of jobs only get advertised. So to hear about them, you have to have a network, you have to be visible.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So,
Visibility, depending on what we want, internal and external.
yes, exactly. Yeah. Same behaviors, same mindsets, just different application.
Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Yes, good. Lovely to talk to you.
Yeah.
Great, everybody. Lovely to see you here, and I hope to speak to you in the future. Thanks very much. Bye.